Hello, Maple Grove Senior High Class of 2020. I'm Mr. Bennett. I teach English 11 and AP English 12, and I'm here coming to you from my dining room at home. Please forgive the unicorn and mermaid decorations in the background. I have twin daughters turning 5 years old tomorrow, and we've already decorated for their birthday breakfast, so you'll just have to bear with the birthday decorations, I'm afraid. I wanted to say congratulations. Congratulations on completing this chapter of your lives. You've all traveled a long road already and have dealt with a major upset to the expected conclusion of your high school careers. And yet, this moment is more about the beginning of something new than any finality or conclusion, just as the term commencement suggests. And I hope that you can all look back with a great deal of pride at what you have accomplished at Maple Grove Senior High School over the last several years. I've chosen to take this opportunity in my senior letter to offer some advice on your paths moving forward. And I hope that this message is encouraging to you when things don't come easily, because life will undoubtedly continue to be filled with stress and boredom and obstacles, because these things don't disappear in adult life. In fact, they're quite a bit more abundant. So here's my message to you. It's a challenge. Mediocrity is easy, and complacency is comfortable, while excellence, on the other hand, is gained by traveling a long and hard road that is very often uncomfortable. Excellence doesn't happen on accident. It requires hard work and huge investments of time and energy and intentional thought and an idea worth pursuing. What's perhaps most difficult, however, is that in order to become our best selves, we must be able to consistently subordinate our immediate wants and desires for that idea. And we must also want to do that. We've all had to face this on a daily basis during distance learning. We've learned that what we might want to do at any given hour is often at odds with what we know is best for us and our long-term goals. We might want to sleep until noon and eat Pringles all day, but that doesn't help get us closer to where we want to be. Self-discipline and the drive to continually pursue this best version of ourselves are necessary components of excellence in all dimensions of life. And I've got an example coming from cross country because I think that this can be most clearly seen in the physical dimension. I love coaching cross country running. I coach alongside some wonderful, great coaches, and I have the honor and privilege of serving alongside Coach Gifford and his leadership. I love coaching the sport for a lot of reasons, but not necessarily because of a burning love for running, but for many other reasons besides. And this truth of perseverance and self-discipline is easily understood by anyone who has finished a cross-country race. Inevitably, runners will face pain and burning urges to slow down or quit. The best runners will face this most often because they are pushing themselves the furthest and the hardest. And those best runners will continue running the race all the way through without accepting mediocrity and without giving in to the discomfort of pushing oneself to excellence. Excellence in academic, professional, relational, and civic dimensions also come about in this same way. Academic excellence, which you all undoubtedly know by now, is a product of hard work and dedication and discipline. Professional excellence will be the same. And successful relationships also require these same investments of time and energy and dedication, and also require the same degree of sacrifice. I'm not saying anything here that you haven't undoubtedly heard many times before, either from your parents or teachers or church or community leaders, etc. Self-discipline and passion are essential. Being excellent is hard. But I want to remind you that while complacency and mediocrity don't ask anything of us, they also have very little to offer us, and nothing at all to offer us in the longer scope of our lives. So I leave with a contrast of two very big minds in the world of psychology. Sigmund Freud claims that human nature is to seek pleasure. On the other hand, Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor, author, neurologist, and psychiatrist, claims that human nature is to find meaning and value in life. Without question, many people seek value and meaning through comfort and pleasure, just as Sigmund Freud suggests. Those who pursue excellence, however, make a daily choice to subordinate their immediate desires and comforts for something bigger. Those who seek excellence know that this is a road they must continue to travel because excellence is not a fixed destination. It is a road that we must continually walk, lest we grow complacent. It is a race that we must continue to run. You've reached an important checkpoint in finishing high school, and at commencement later this summer, you'll all turn a page and begin a new chapter in your lives. I wish you all the absolute best as you continue to live in excellence, and I encourage you to never give up the passion and enthusiasm you have for being your best self. Take care, and good luck, class of 2020. I'm excited for you, and I'm proud of you.
Dear Maple Grove Senior High Class of 2020, many of you know who I am, but to those of you that I have not met, my name is Mrs. Dufault, and I teach English here at Maple Grove Senior High. I was fortunate enough to have many of you in my 9th grade English class 4 years ago, and now again, I have had many of you as seniors in English class. Today, I am honored to have been chosen to make a video for you as you move on with graduation and the rest of your lives. While I am saddened and sorry we did not get a chance to say goodbye in person, this opportunity to write and read you a letter is so much fun and so rewarding, which directly reflects my experiences teaching you, class of 2020. I have taught here at Maple Grove Senior High for 10 years, and I have loved every minute of it. Well, almost every minute of it. I sincerely love the energy emanated of being around young people on their journeys. I love hearing about your day, your experiences, your accomplishments, your futures, and your dreams. I acknowledge that your senior year has been different and not what anyone expected. It has also not been easy, especially in the last 2.5 months. The unexpected distance learning took us by surprise, but we did it. You did it, seniors. You did it, and you proved your resiliency, which leads me to one topic of this address, resiliency. Resiliency is defined as the ability of people to feel better and recover after a shock and a difficulty. By definition, you have been practicing resiliency. Making it through high school and graduating during a worldwide pandemic is something to be proud of, students. You moved toward your goals following high school, college, work, and the military. You have maintained hope and long-term perspective during a stressful time. You are looking beyond the present to how future circumstances will be better. And the reason I know you have maintained this hope is because you have taken action despite this disadvantageous situation. You have shown up, you have checked in, you have submitted assignments through Schoology, and you have finished strong. Be proud of yourselves and keep going. And when you aren't going because you are waiting or you just are not going, then keep standing and maintain hope and at least keep standing until you go again, because you will go again. Developing resiliency brings about a few additional pieces of advice. Search for and find a purpose. I believe life is expecting something from each and every one of you, and it is okay to not know what that purpose is yet. Be patient and kind with yourself as you uncover your purposes. It might not happen until you are 35 or even older, but looking back, the dots will connect. Even when you're moving forward in life and you don't see how the dots will connect, it's weird, but somehow they connect looking back. Furthermore, acknowledge your future, but don't obsess over it. It sounds cliche, but like I said, discovering what you want and who you are is a journey. Part of that journey is changing and adapting, which may entail changing your mind. It is okay to change your mind. To change your mind about a major in college, a career, a relationship, your plans for Saturday night. And lastly, seniors, speaking straight from my heart, I want you to know that you matter. You matter to the people that know you. You matter to your teachers, counselors, and your principal. You matter to Maple Grove Senior High. We have missed you this spring, and we will miss you in the fall. I always look around the halls for the graduated seniors in the fall, and I am filled with nostalgia because I miss you. But it is a happiness. It is a nostalgic happiness because I know you have moved on and I know you are experiencing bright futures. Thank you, class of 2020. It has been an honor. You have truly left a mark at Maple Grove Senior High School.
Dear Crimson Seniors, what to say to you? This isn't how we wanted this to end, but I have a few more thoughts for you before we say goodbye.
Hello, class of 2020. If you don't know me, my name is Beth Hellstedt, and I've been teaching choir at Maple Grove Senior High for more than 14 years. Over those years, I've seen this school community go through so many things. Some of those things were incredibly ugly, and others were incredibly beautiful. I'm really sad that we had to cancel our center stage production and our spring choir concerts, and that my amazing seniors didn't get to have all of the final performances that they've been looking forward to since their freshman year. I'm sure you're sad too, and that's okay. You know, looking back on high school, there's going to be moments that you remember that maybe were a little bit ugly, but there are also really beautiful moments that you've created with each other. I hope you can take some time during these last few days of high school to think about those beautiful moments that you created with your friends, with your teachers, with your teammates. Remember, choir is a team sport. And anywhere within the MGSH community. As I thought about what I wanted to say in this letter, I kept coming back to music. Whether or not you consider yourself a formal musician, you've probably turned to music at least once during this quarantine. Maybe you've just been listening to a lot of music, or maybe you've been playing an instrument or singing or creating new music. We all have a lot of emotions inside of us right now, and music helps us process those emotions. When you hear someone singing about something that you're feeling, whether it's happy or sad, it gives you the sense that you're not alone in those feelings. So today, I recorded myself performing excerpts of some songs that my choir students would have sung while in high school. I picked one from each their freshman, sophomore, and junior years in choir. And I picked these songs not just because my choir students will hopefully have a sense of nostalgia when they hear them, but also because I think the lyrics of these songs can give all of us some important things to think about right now. So, here I go.
No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. All you gotta do is live your life, be true. Live your life, be true, and never be afraid. Never be afraid to grow. It don't matter how you got it. It's yours now, don't you hide it. Let it grow. Let it grow. Let the love inside you show it. Just the way to know you're worth it. Let it grow. Let it grow.
My hope for you, class of 2020, is that you feel safe and supported as you begin to write on those blank pages before you. Because when we feel safe, we can feel brave. and that's when we can really embrace life's adventures. I hope you look around you and draw your circle wide enough to include everyone, not just those with whom you are the most comfortable. Our lives are made richer when everyone's voice is included in the song. I hope you will live your life, be true, and never be afraid to grow. And while we might not have a final song to nicely cap off your year together, it wouldn't be a Miss Hellstedt letter if I didn't talk about love somewhere in here. My students know I'm a sucker for a song that has a good love theme to it. One of my mantras is a song lyric from a piece of music that I heard at a choir concert once. And those lyrics are, "All that matters in the end is how we love." Class of 2020, you are so loved. I hope that at some point during your time at Maple Grove Senior High, you have felt that love. Please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves. And please move forward with a song of love in your heart. Thank you.
Good morning, scholars. Good morning, scholars. Good morning, scholars. As you transition to the next phase in your life, take the opportunity to examine your priorities. Decide what really matters. And while you are doing so, think about this. Your goal shouldn't be to return to what once was. No. Your goal should be to forge something better. Listen more. Speak less. Think before you speak. Be decent to each other. Find someone you can trust and trust them. But never, ever trust anyone who tells you not to think. Read more. You can never read too much. Ask good questions. You can never ask too many. When I first taught, I taught terribly. Looking to improve, I read. Each year, try 2 or 3 new things. In 3 to 5 years, you can have anything you want in education. I was furious. Is that all you've got? But here's the thing. I did. Every year I tried 2 or 3 new things. Now, 22 years later, I'm 50 ways better. I just never stopped growing. Slow and steady wins the race. Always do what you know to be right, especially when no one's looking. The cumulative effect will be to make you a better human being. What's more important than that? the reiteration of slogans, the distortion of the news. The great storm of propaganda that beats upon the citizen 24 hours a day, all his life long, means either that democracy must fall prey to the loudest and most persistent propagandist, or that the people must save themselves by strengthening their minds so that they can appraise the issue for themselves. Robert Maynard Hutchins, 1952. What is the mark of a winner? It's not that they're never knocked down. No. Isn't it that when they are knocked down, they get back up and begin planning to make things better? Nothing ever keeps them down. That might be the mark of a winner. Be decent to each other. Take the time to listen. Use this transition in your life as an opportunity to reset. And together we can forge something better. It's simple, really, if you think about it. Scholars, I wish you well.
Hello, class of 2020. Super excited to get a chance to talk to you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I want to get a nice little lake backdrop on a Memorial Day weekend. Pretty sweet leading up to your graduation. But it's really exciting for me to get a chance to speak to your class, and more importantly, this class of 2020. I know it's one that'll live in infamy. You'll always be remembered. There is no question about that. With this going on, your reunion stories already have a start to them. And so 20 years from now, you kind of have a good topic to talk about where you knew you were kind of cooped up and that's how it finished out. But you are a very special class for me in many ways because obviously there's something very personal to this graduation for me, and I'll explain that in a second. I want to give you a quick story. When I was in class and we were doing as seniors, I always do something that I always have you list out 5 things. Things you love about Maple Grove, things you hated about Maple Grove, what will be your generation's calling card, meaning like what will you be known for. Then I said, what makes you happy, what makes you successful now? And then 10 years from now, what do you think will make you successful? And there's always a list of, I want to have a job, a house, and things like that, but there's always a word on there that is always on the top of that list from 10 years from now. And usually when seniors write things out, they always just say, I want to be happy. And happiness is such a broad term. What makes people happy? And I thought I had it figured out, but I want to kind of give you a little perspective of something that happened to me that let me understand what that meant. And so in 2001, my wife and I found out we were having our first child, which is very exciting for any obviously new married couple. And that was kind of just about as big a moment as it gets. And we got to the birth of the child, and my wife obviously did all the work. I was a good cheerleader. I was in there, and we had our first baby, or she did. I was there again cheering her on, and the greatest thing happened to me. And this sounds bad, but my first child was a boy. I had my boy Joey, and I went into every bad dad thing you get where my hands are up and I'm like, that's my boy. And I'm picturing not only is he gonna have a great life, but he also has me as a coach, and he has things, and I can line my backyard, I can set things up, I can get things going. And this kid, he is blessed. He isn't only just a new child into this world, but he has me as his father, and we are gonna rock this thing. And I went through all those things that a lot of dads go through when they get their first son. And so the first year, I'm dressing him up in clothes that are my dreams, like every dad does, and going through all these things. And we get to about 2 years old. And when he's 2 years old, Joey, first of all, very brilliant. He was, at 18 months, able to spell 3-letter words, do things that were crazy that we just took for granted because it was our first child. But now as I look back, wasn't the case. And then when he got to 2 years old, we went to Chicago to see my parents, and Joey wouldn't even walk into the house. He was so shy, he wouldn't even go forward to where I had to kick him into the house and make sure he could get in there. And I was like, what is he afraid of? My dad, maybe I get it, but my mom, very caring, this and that. And he wouldn't walk up until about 2 days it took him to soften up to get to where he could walk in. And then we went home, and the same thing kind of happened with my neighbors and people that he had seen a lot. And he was super shy to where we had to force him through the door. And so my wife and I went into the pediatrician for his 2-year checkup and said, you know what? He's doing fine. He was right kind of on schedule with all his things, other than we're like, we can't figure out why he's so, what do we do to help? Well, while this is going on, my son is in the pediatrician's office, and they all look the same. They have a fish when you walk in, and then you go, and we go into the office, and he's looking at different things on the wall and going, monkey, fish, a lion, cat, and then he goes, narwhal. I don't even know what a narwhal is. I think it's some kind of big fish, but some big animal that he had been reading on cards, and he just was saying every animal in that place at 2 years old. And when that happened, the pediatrician looked at us and said, you know what, there's a place called Fraser I want you to get an appointment of to get him evaluated. I think your son might have autism. And at that moment, obviously my wife and I's heart sank, tears in our eyes, and we're like, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? So about 4 months it takes to go by, we go into Fraser, and they do the test on him and all the different tests, and there's 12 tests, and you have to, if there's 4 of them that show you have it, you have it. Well, he had 8. And so the people at Fraser came out to us and they said, Mr. and Mrs. Lombardi, we just want you to know that Joey does have autism. And at that moment, all those dreams of lining the backyard and doing all these things and all these things about me being his coach and his dad and all that, at that one moment in time, all those dreams that I thought were there absolutely went like that, and they were gone. And I'll tell you from experience that moment in time, I didn't care about all those things. All I saw in front of me was a little boy that my wife and I love way more than ourselves. And all we wanted to do was ask questions on what can we do to give him the best life he possibly can have. And so we put him into treatments. We put him into things that I'll put him in school at 2.5, trying to get things done. If anybody knows Joey, a lot of you do know Joey. He's very flimsy. He doesn't control his body very well. Simple things that you take for granted took him to about 8 or 9 years old to be able to do. I mean, just simple potty training, brushing teeth, doing things like that. That was a daily grind till about 7 or 8 for him. And things to this day still are that way. And he physically is very wobbly and things like that. So he had to go through all these different physical therapies as well. And so he's one of those kids that we always would throw him in there anyway, even though there was 2 or 3. So he'd go through all these treatments. Well, I always made the joke that if you go to like Burger King or you go to all these different spots that have like those playgrounds in them with the slides and the tubes, this guy is the best you've ever seen in those. I would put Joey in the tubes. I'd push him in there. I would crawl in front of him. Any little kids that would come in my way, I'd go, get the hell out of my way. My boy's coming. And I would get through those things, climbing the ball. I would help him get through it and make sure he was able to do that. But it was really hard for him. And so I tell you that in retrospect. So when we get to this moment when he's about 3.5, 4 years old, we go to the state fair. And so we go to the state fair, and everyone knows you've been on those the boardwalk where all the rides are. Well, Joey does love rides. I think it was the speed of everything and this and that. So because we're there and we're there to celebrate, we pretty much invested our house and spent like $100 for 4 rides or whatever it cost there. And we go on there, we go on all the rides, and we got 3 tickets left. We have 3 tickets left. And Joey looks at me and he goes, I want to go on that. And I look over there, and there's one of those huge fun houses. One of those huge fun houses that have a million things that you got to crawl through, and then it ends with the big slide and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm going to have to get my shoes off and go knock over the kids in the state fair. This is not going to be easy. And so I go up to him, and he give Joey the ticket. Say, Joey, you got to go give the lady the ticket, which is a big step for him. Remember, he was so shy. He hands the lady the ticket real tentatively, and I go and tell the lady at the front, I might have to go in there. He's got autism, and I might have to go chase him down. She said, that's okay, but we let him go. And so he walks into this fun house, and he walks in, and he's literally goes in, and he's tiptoeing through, like the carrots that wobble through, and he's twisting through it, and he's twisting through it, and then he goes through the balls, jumps in the balls, and he steps in it like he's going into a hot bathtub, barely getting in there. And then he goes to the next step, and then there's a rope ladder and all that. He climbs it. It takes him 6 minutes to get there, and then he goes across, and then he gets to the top, and kids are just zipping by him. I mean, by the hundreds. And he's going through, and he gets to this huge suspension bridge to get to the final slide. And the suspension bridge, is one of those ones that wobble. Well, he hasn't walked over little ones in our neighborhood, so I'm like, here is going to be the stop. And he stops cold, looks at it, and then he walks very gingerly over it. He gingerly goes over it. And it takes him about a minute to go over this thing, but he makes it. And he gets to the slide, and I know he'll go down that because he likes rides. And I look, and my wife's 50 yards over here. I'm here. We're both yelling, go, go, Joe, go. And I look at both of us, and he got to that slide, and both of us just saw tears streaming down our face. And we both were in tears watching our son go through a fun house. And at that moment, I realized what happiness is. It wasn't what I thought. It wasn't the great moment on the field or the great moment on this. It was watching somebody I love more than myself overcome things that would have stopped so many. And that trip on that funhouse represented about 1.5 years of work that he had to do that was not easy. And so my other hero I talked about is my son. And he is someone that every day teaches me when things are unknown and things are not easy, that if you persevere and you believe in yourself, you will find a way to make it happen. And my son Joey has taught me that. And so I tell you this because you're in a time right now of dreams. And I want you shooting for everyone that you possibly can shoot for. And I hope along the way you have a hell of a lot of difficulty getting there. Because if you trust yourself and you have the power within you, you can get the things you never ever dreamt you could. You live in a tough time right now. You live in a time of social media where a lot of people tell you how to act. And a lot of people tell you what the outcome of things will be before you ever even dipped your feet in the water. And so a lot of times you guys stop things before they even start. I am telling you, happiness comes from struggle. And if you believe in yourself and you know, and you get to those moments, because you're going to have a million things down this path that seem unfair, that feel like the world's out to get you, that feels like this is the worst thing. And you don't think for about 2 years, I saw my brother with 3 they have all-American type athlete kids, and me and go, why me? Why did I get Joey? Well, now this is special for me because that moment walking across the bridge, I just experienced a week ago when Joey, along with you, picked up his cap and gown. And he walked about 100 yards up to take a picture with a diploma in his hand. And I had tears, and my wife and my daughters all had tears running down our face because he didn't do it the easy way. He went in the mainstream classes. He got a 3.3 GPA. He found a way to get there. And him walking those 100 yards was that bridge. And he wobbled, and he got there, and it was tough. But he held it up with pride, and he glowed because nothing you will remember ever comes from being easy. And so it's been an honor. It's been a privilege to be able to teach, coach, be around you guys. I know the world is out there, but as I said, I pray you know it ain't gonna be easy. And if you stop immediately when it gets difficult, you're gonna miss what true happiness truly is about. And so I challenge you. I challenge you to look those things in the eye that seem unfair, that seem like you have no chance, and say, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. It might take a year, but I have it in me. And then you're going to sit, and those tears running down your face will tell you you did it all for the right reasons. So good luck, guys. I know this was a little bit long, but I wanted to share with you because you mean a lot to me, because I watch my son every day, and I know what this graduation time means for you. But I also learned from him that the most unfair things that happen in your life end up being the greatest things that you ever were given. And so don't forget that. All right, well, go Crimson. You're always a member of who we are. We love you. And go rock in this new world because it's your time to shine. Take care.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so very much for this honor. Congratulations. You are graduating. It's exciting. After a lot of thinking, here are my words of wisdom for you. Number 1, you are enough. Number 2, you are not an apple. Number 3, you are a steward. Number 4, you are a very important part of our Crimson family. We constantly receive the message that to have a happy life, we must have certain things or do certain things. That to be beautiful, you have to look a certain way, love a certain way, that good people only think a certain way. These messages influence the way we see each other, the way we treat each other, the way we see the world, and most importantly, the way we see ourselves. These messages often teach us that as we are not enough. What a horrible burden to carry, to strive to be something that is impossible to attain. Number 1, you are enough. You are beautiful as you are. You should love who you love. You have the right to make mistakes and the responsibility to learn from them. What you see in social media is not real. Therefore, it should not be the standard by which you measure yourself. Number 2, there is always a choice to make. You can choose to do what is right or not. There is an English expression that every time I hear it, it bothers me. It makes me cringe. The apple does not fall far from the tree. Who would I be if this were true? I will never know, because I chose to be far from the tree. I believe this expression limits human potential. It limits the value of personal choice and decision making. It limits us to becoming a replica of what we came from. Some of us grew up in a stable environment where our physical and emotional needs were met. Some of us did not. It is undeniable that where we come from will influence us, but it should not determine where we end. Please remember, you are not an apple. You have a will. You can build the life you want to create if you're willing to make mistakes and learn from them. Number 3, remember each of us has a responsibility to the world we live in. We are stewards of our earth. We have the responsibility to it and all its inhabitants. We have the duty to leave it better than we found it. Please begin with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to all, even to the unkind. As my grandmother used to say, we don't know what is in the heart of others. We don't know the pain they live with. The seeds of kindness we plant will blossom and influence the world for the best. Number 4, you are loved. You will always be an important part of our Crimson family. As Michelle Obama said, quote, I want you to keep pushing forward. Just keep pushing forward. And I want you to reach out and ask for help. I know your teachers tell you that all the time, but please understand that no one gets through college or life, for that matter, alone. No one. I certainly didn't. End quote. The class of 2020 will always be special. You will be remembered as the marker, the first group to come to age during the time when the world was forever changed. And for the first time, we realized that each of us has a role in the well-being of the whole. Remember, you are enough. You are not an apple. You are a steward, and you are and will always be an important part of our Crimson family. We love you. I am very proud of each one of you. Go and make the world a better place. Congratulations, seniors.